All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this Red Table Wisdom Talk. I'm Kathy Mines, the Director of Wellness at Reach Yoga, taking my seat at the Red Table as host and call moderator. The Red Table Wisdom Talks are weekly conversations between Gatandagua's Diane Longboat and people worldwide who are looking to participate in exchanges that lift the spirit. This virtual community space is provided solely for the purpose of making Indigenous teachings available in the spirit of reconciliation. Diane is a ceremonial leader, traditional teacher, healer, and the founder of Soul of the Mother, a healing lodge on the shores of the Grand River at Six Nations, Grand River Territory. Gatandaguas, we make our tobacco offering to you tonight with respect and thanks for your traditional teachings.
Thank you so much, Kathy. It seems like a long time since we've been together, and I have my own tobacco offering here. I keep up my bundle close to my desk as I'm working during the day. So I want to show you the tobacco offering I'm making for you this evening. This is an important time to be together because not only are the seasons changing, but we are individually and collectively changing. And so I want to offer some smudge to you and offer these words of invocation to bring our hearts and minds together and to help us to clear ourselves from the worries of the day, the challenges that we've all faced today, and also some of the really great things that have come our way in most recent times. And so I'm going to raise this bowl to you, and I want to smudge you, even though it's virtually. We understand that the spirit moves and knows no time and no distance. And so the medicine will travel to you. So grateful to you, Samwe Dizon, for this beautiful day, for the gift of life for one more day, for the opportunity to meet together in that spirit of peace and to see each other after these weeks of being apart. We realize how close we have become and how this virtual family has grown and become really strong over the past months. Give thanks this day for the beautiful human family that exists upon Mother Earth. All the great diversity of the languages, the faith traditions, the cultures of the human family. And we say that we are all flowers in your garden, each one different, coming from different families, and even individually we are different. But we come together to celebrate you, Creator, and to remember that you are the creator of all things, and that you have made all of us and given us a spiritual mandate to fulfill in this earth walk. We give thanks for our Mother, the Earth, for all those minerals that are underneath our feet have been swirled together here by the Creator's great vision to create a paradise for us. And the visitation that was made to the most beautiful places in the universe to collect all of the pollens and the dusts from those places have combined with the Creator's love and vision to create Mother Earth. The great waters that are upon the earth are fresh waters and salt waters. They are also rain waters that we have experienced here in our area this morning. We give thanks for all the birth waters and the continuance of life that comes with those birth waters, and the promise that the Creator still has faith in us that we're going to raise our children well, and so he loans them to us and sends new life into the world. We give thanks and honor to the oldest form of life on the earth, which is the plant life. The food sustainers, the corn, the beans, and the squash, we've seen them all come from our gardens this summer in great abundance. We give thanks for all the medicine plants, of which the sacred tobacco is the lead of all of those plants, and our communication with the spirit world, because the medicine itself of sacred tobacco comes from the spirit world and is told to us in the truths of our creation stories. We give thanks and honor to all of the medicine plants that are serving us, the ones that keep us strong and healthy, and all of the beings that are moving through those plants, the great spirit life that moves through those plants to empower them. We give thanks to the sage, the cedar, the sweetgrass, and all the medicines that are working individually and combining to keep us healthy. We honor all of the plants that give us the medicines that clean our blood, the medicines that take bacteria and viruses from our bodies. We honor all of those standing tree people, those ones that give us medicine individually and collectively to heal us during this time of great challenge. We honor and give thanks this day to all of the animal life that sits in that great council of creation, and to the bird life that is also there, and to the living beings that are in the waters. We honor all of those beings and give thanks that they are still with us, that they are performing their duties according to the way that the Creator made them. We honor all of those unseen forces that are in movement on the earth, the great four winds that we call our grandfathers, that are refreshing and cleansing Mother Earth, and to the thunder beings who bring rain and lightning to clean the air, ionize the air, and to renew all life that is on the land. Thanks for all of those beings. Of earth, there are four messengers that the Creator has put in place, who He has lowered to walk with us from time to time. And those messengers have brought us many dreams and visions, healing, teaching, and correction, so that we can be strong in this lifetime. We honor and give thanks to all of those beings that are the stars that represent our ancestors, to our grandmother, the moon, who is taking care of female life and fertility and ensuring that there is always new life coming to the earth. She's taking care of the great waters upon the earth and the tides, and she takes care of the fertility of life within those great waters. To our grandfather, the sun, whose light brings life to the world, we give thanks and ask the Creator on behalf of all of us that we will continue to have strength and passion for this work, that we will continue to have a solid foundation on which to stand, that we will continue to never fail in performing our duties, just as you do when you walk across that sky each day from east to west. We are mindful that one day these bodies that we have been given to take care of will wear out and will return to Mother Earth. The soul that is embedded within us with all of our spiritual mandates will live on and will move into the place where we came from. We call it the place of peace. And in that place of peace, we will see our ancestors that are there at their fires, praying for us, encouraging us, challenging us, and also bringing us many dreams and visions and sacred guidance to help us along the way. We give thanks for all of the ancestors and for their prayers. And to all of those beings that are the Creator's helpers and messengers that sit at the great council fire, we honor you and give thanks to you that we have received many dreams, many visits from you that are now empowering us and helping us and guiding us along this great pathway. That we are receiving strength to understand that prophecies are being fulfilled before our very eyes, and that we are no longer in a state of wonder or questioning or fear, but of acceptance of dynamic change that's coming to the earth and coming to all of the human family and all of the life beings that are on the earth. And so these words, Samgweti, are meant for us to humble ourselves before you, to acknowledge that you are the Creator of all life and all things that are within this world, to show our thanks to you for creating this place for us and to teaching us and to being patient with us as we go through our paces to learn how to live in concert with the natural laws and with the spiritual laws once again. We are so grateful for these opportunities to be together once a week and to share and to learn from each other. And we thank you that you have preserved all of us our families, our children, our partners, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, our clan members, our communities and our nations, that you have preserved us and you continue to support us in this walk. And so with these words, Samway Tisam, we offer them and we say Nyawa to you and give thanks that you love us so much. And we also return that love to you and say Gananunqua. Nyawa. Miigwech. Miigwech. That was beautiful to offer that to you and to give thanks on behalf of all of us. So we went through a process together in the springtime for April, May, and we had a number of times together in June as well. And so really, you know, the 12 weeks of sessions together in which we really worked hard at understanding some of the spiritual practices that we could do at home and some of the prayers that we needed to offer, the changes that we wanted to bring into our personal lives. So all of those recordings that we did talked about those practices and talked about those teachings and uplifted and strengthened your spirit. Then we took off the month of July to be able to bring those we took off the month of sometime in June to integrate those teachings into our lives and to do so personally. And we came back together in July for a number of sessions. And then we took some time in August to integrate those teachings into our families. And so here we are now in September and in a new season. And that season has brought with it profound change for all of us. And I wanted to talk about that change tonight. I want to really offer you the opportunity to talk about the changes that you've been able to bring into your personal life. Maybe it's your relationship, maybe it's your work, friendships, families, and living the change that we talked about with all the spiritual direction that you were given in the springtime for yourself and again for your family. So let's talk about that tonight, and we'll kind of like have an open mic night, and Kathy's going to moderate for us. So thank you, Kathy.
Wow, what a beautiful start to our night. Thank you so much. Yeah. So hopefully all of you have been kind of thinking about what you could share on the call tonight coming up. I have something, but I'm going to just save my thing, because if the rest of you can get sharing and chatting, type into the chat box if you want to share. I'll give you a few breaths to do that, and then I can get you to unmute yourself. Or you could raise your hand. There's hang on, I see. Oh, Heather, you're giving me the thumbs down. So if you'd like to unmute yourself and explain that, you might have meant for hands up. So.
Actually, I thought it was the chat box, so it was completely accidental. Sorry.
Do you have anything to share?
Not at the moment. Let me think about it a bit.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and share what I noticed. And it is kind of, actually, it accumulated over the month. And what I thought was just one thing that happened between my mom and I that was incredible. It kept getting more and more and more. My mom and I have had, as can happen, awkward relationship. She has alcohol in her life, and it can make for awkward times for us. And knowing to bring these teachings into my family, I thought, well, let's see what I can do with myself where I can start to speak to her from a place of such love and not kind of, and I'm sure everybody has this experience some way, but you're just waiting for the shoe to drop. When is it going to get weird? And I just flipped it, and I decided I'm not going to do that. And our relationship has skyrocketed. I can't even say, like, I almost daily something new, a nice exchange happens. And it's been a many, many, many years since we have even been able to find our footing as treating each other just beautifully. So I feel like I secretly tried to bring the teachings into my family just a little bit because I didn't know what to do. And it's like it has its own life now.
I love that because, you know, one of the things is that as human beings, we kind of get caught in these, I want to call them highways. So you get on the highway and you know your way and you know kind of where you're going and you know what's along the road, along the destination. And it's kind of like how Kathy explained it, you have had an old relationship and you just anticipate that this is the way it's going to go. But, I really encourage everyone to step back from that, from their expectations. Step back from your expectations of how things are going to emerge in your relationship and look at that person. And maybe it's not your mother, maybe it's someone else in your relation, in your constellation of your family, but look at that person as the person who absorbed a lot of negative in his or her life in order for you to be the person that you are today.
You're making me cry already. We just got going. Yeah, that's
because everyone has a spiritual mandate of why they were born in the world, the gifts that you carry, the sacred name that you carry, the ancestors that are forming part of your lineage, but also the spirit beings that walk with you, that have been designated to walk with you and watch over you since the time your spirit left the spirit world and came here to have an earthly walk. And so you've never been alone from the time you were created to the time you came here to the earth walk you make, to the time you leave to go back and walk over that bridge called the Milky Way that joins the natural world to the high heavens of the spirit world. So in that journey, I would say all of you have been given this supreme spiritual mandate. And all of you, including myself, have been involved in, whether it's family relationships, friendship relationships, work relationships, where an individual has made your life very difficult, very judgmental, angry, never happy. Maybe that individual was full of addiction or full of trauma, and yet managed to bring you into the world, managed to help you in your own life's journey in this world. And I want you to imagine that person as the sacrificial lamb who took on a lot of that negative to enable you to be free to finish your spiritual mandate in the world. So are they the misery of your life? Or are they not? And only you can answer that.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. We have first Natalie and then Jody. So Natalie, please go ahead and unmute yourself.
Thank you, Kathy, for sharing what you share. That's really powerful. Really amazing. And beautiful. So first I wanted to say thank you to Kahantapas for recommending that I continue practicing the sunrise ceremony with the water. And I have been doing that as lemon water, and doing it with Vicky when we rise together, and continuing to do it on my own as I get up in the earlier hours now. And prepare to take on my new challenge of being the learning warrior at school as we prepare to open the schools next week for our students who will be coming to us. And I have to say, it's really quite powerful, especially when I've been holding space for my school family, my colleagues, who need strength at this time as I do, preparing for being able to handle all the unexpected changes that are happening, sometimes hourly, throughout the week, and being able to support each other as a family at school. And it's quite powerful to do that ceremony and with intention, and to really hold that space in that loving commitment to wanting for myself, for my family, for those around me, and moving into school, my school family. The other thing that I've been continuing also is meditation. And I'm finding that connecting to my breath and giving myself some affirmations, which I really needed leading up to this week, just telling myself that I'm safe, that I'm okay, that everything is okay. And that was really powerful too. And it's brought me here today through a difficult week already for myself. I don't really need to go into the major details of it, but it's helped me to embrace some unexpected challenges that came my way in my position and at school. And it really helped me to just move through it with a lot of ease, actually. When I'm looking back on it now, it seemed so intense last week, and I was able to feel it and allow myself to feel it. And I'm lucky that I have a supportive partner who helped me with that as well. And then I was able to let it go and move on and embrace the next phase of this situation that we find ourselves, that I find myself in at work. Mm-hmm. And I'm feeling a lot more optimistic about it all. And I think it's because of these practices. I feel like there's a strength in me that I'm okay. And I'm just going to take it each day. And I feel really centered about it all. Much more centered than I even thought that I would. So thank you for your recommendation to continue to do the sunrise ceremony.
Thanks so much, Natalie. I'm so proud of you. You know, it takes work, like everything. It takes work to incorporate change into our lives and to shift a routine when you're so used to doing things a certain way. And so, you know, I raise you up for doing that, because, you know, a lot of people listening here this evening also did the sun ceremony. I hope they'll talk, and I hope they'll, you know, share some of their experiences as well. And, you know, going back into that school system is not easy. It's fearful for the children, for the parents, for the bus drivers, for the admin staff, for the teachers, you know. And I work with my own daughter, you know, in her preparation to return to school, because she teaches as well. And she has a strong spirit. And so that strong spirit, like your strong spirit, is really holding her in a place of comfort and acceptance as she moves into the system. And I think it's the people who are having a difficult time, who have not grounded themselves in a particular faith tradition or a practice, that are really feeling challenged. And she said, fully half of the teachers in the school broke down crying on that first day. You know, it's the fullness of the impact of that change is being felt by so many people, and coping with it is not easy. And not knowing, not being in control, and not being understanding of the outcome is really throws people off. And so, you know, this is what you've described here really is like a spiritual warrior in the making, because what you've done is you've incorporated a practice and you've seen the outcomes of that practice, and you've seen how it affects you mentally and emotionally as well as spiritually. So it strengthens you, it changes you. And when those adverse conditions come your way, you have that opportunity to make those prayers and to ask the Creator for the help that you need. And without a doubt, those ancestors are walking with us now. They've been lowered here to walk with us. And so this is our time to acknowledge them and to really start to think about, how can we begin now to dream with them? How can we begin to communicate with the ancestors that we can open ourselves up to messages? Because it's those messages that you get combined with your spiritual practice that really put you over the top. It puts you in a place of a solid foundation. No one can say you didn't hear this message, or that message doesn't mean anything, or they can try to deride you in some way, but it will never have an effect because you know what you heard, what you saw, what you felt, what you experienced, whether it was a dream or a vision. So, you know, I think that's really the next stage for you, is to start dreaming. And I would encourage you to, as you and Vicki are going for walks, you know, put down some tobacco before you start, and ask the Creator to show you, help you to find a rock for dreaming, and smudge it when you get home and put it under your pillow, and then see what happens.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Natalie. So we're going to go ahead, Jody, and then Tracy. So Jody, unmute yourself.
Hi. So,
Hi.
hi. Couple of things. I was challenged just to maintain a practice of morning and evening prayer since February at the contra dance, when we were called to do that. And what's interesting is I was starting to prepare about 2 weeks ago. I started to prepare physically. I'm going on a water walk on Friday for a week up the Grand River with Marianne and some other Anishinaabe elders as a support person. And so I was starting to prepare physically to do that. And it's like, I can't do 2 practices at once or something. But because I was doing a morning practice with friends and I was doing sun salutations, I literally found it a struggle to maintain just the simple Thanksgiving prayer. So I started again today, knowing that I was going to get checked in on tonight. And when I find that when I'm really struggling, Diane, I literally just pull out an old recording of yours and let you do it for me. If I can't find the words or just can't find the habit, it's really disheartening that I'm really struggling not being able to be in my spirit and my body at the same time. It feels like I haven't given myself permission yet to take care in both realms, you know?
Yeah.
So my judge and my critic starts in, and then it's very easy for me to slide back into I'm doing the anti-racism work, and I'm doing the work for Land Back 1492, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and go through my day feeling like I'm contributing spiritually, but I haven't taken the time to humble myself and just say thank you. So just looking for a little cheerleader boost or something. Yeah. You've known me a long time. You know, I move in between action and the spirit. I'm just trying to ease into my grandmotherness when there's so much action needing to be done right now, to try to
So,
find an appropriate pace that allows me to stay in tune to this work without feeling like, you know, I have to stop and deal with the emergencies.
mhm. So I think, you know, doing this kind of work for as long as you've done it really speaks to your commitment to the work. And I don't think anybody would ever question that. One of the things that happens to us as we get older is that we become more masterful at the things that we're really good at in life. And they come at us with a degree of ease. Knowing yourself is really probably the first and foremost challenge that each of us has. And knowing where your joy comes from, knowing where your fulfillment comes from, not looking to others for that purpose, and knowing that you have a relationship with the Creator that is forever and always, and that is the most significant relationship in your life. And so, you know, we go through life and we learn more about that, and we learn how to celebrate that and deepen that relationship. But there comes a time in life where you reach a crossroads. And I really believe you're at that crossroads, because what is happening is that the focus is no longer on the spirit, but it's on the work. And, you know, I think all of us who are really good at what we do all make that mistake. The focus has to be on the Creator and self, and that seminal relationship. And if it's not on that relationship, then you're going to fall out of balance. And I'll just say this from the decades of my life, the work is always going to be there. The challenges are always going to be there. Are they greater now than they were when Martin Luther King was alive and walked across the bridge and fought for civil rights for his people? I don't think so. I think those same challenges are here with us today in different forms. The population has changed, you know, but it's still the same. So the question becomes, the only variable in all of that is ourselves. So the question becomes, what are we willing to do individually to be able to meet those challenges? And it has to start with self, because the Creator is never changing. The Creator is infinite and always there. So what is changing is self. So when you get up in the morning, before your feet hit the floor, you greet the Creator. And the first thoughts that you have are the thoughts of giving thanks for that day, in whatever form that you want to give thanks. And that you make that invocation, because that's where your source of life comes from. And if you don't acknowledge that source of life, then you see people fall into mental illness, anger, frustration, jealousy, lateral violence, family violence, and, you know, eventually war. So that falling out of relationship with the Creator leads to all of those things. That's where it leads to. And so that anger that people carry is really anger against self for not maintaining that seminal relationship. And it may be unconscious. So that's why we talk about it. So it is conscious. That relationship is what grounds you and gives you the physical energy and well-being, the emotional stability, the mental acuity, and the mental clarity to be able to do what you do, because you're spiritually strong. So, you know, there comes a point where you've got to step back and take care of self, ground yourself, eat well, sleep well, and find your strength again physically. And I'll tell you, those water walks are going to go on for 1,000 years, as they should go on for 1,000 years. You miss this water walk, there'll be many more. And so, you know, what is important at this point in time? Is it that Jody has to be at the water walk? Or is it that Jody has to take care of self so Jody can walk on many, many more water walks? So, you know, look at what you need to be able to be strong in your life. And don't be selfish, you know, to say, oh, I've got to give to others, I got to do this, I got to do that. You know, you've got to give to self and take care of self, so that yourself can do the great work that's you're being called to do in the world. And some people run themselves into the ground thinking that they're, you know, they're doing this or doing that, they're involved in all these activities and advocacy work and activism and all of this, and yet, you know, they lose their center of balance. And the clearest description I had of that was of this young girl who was like 17 years old and was talking about being an activist since she was 12 and being burnt out. And I'm not laughing at the burnout part of it, but I'm laughing at you know, the notion that, you know, 5 years of doing this is a long time to young people. And then you look at us in our age groups, right? Like 50 years is a long time to be doing this. So, you know, that's why I say to you, you know, really take care of self, because self has a lot of contributions to make in this world. And do not deny yourself what you need to be strong.
Miigwech.
Miigwech, Jody.
Beautiful. Thank you. Tracy, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, everybody. Everybody has resonated with me, and it's like you're talking to me before I even get to say anything. And at the start of August, I had made a decision, actually the end of July, to let go of a house that I've been trying to let go of. And it was quite a transition. I had no idea where I was going to be going, but I just said, okay, it's time to go. And I knew it. I just knew that there was something inside me that I was going to, and it was involving me and getting to know me. I'm still in transition of that, and transition in so many areas with my daughter. So Kathy, that I'm the alcoholic mother, and we've had a little tiff, and it was you know, some words that I had said, but regardless, I've been able to sit with it and understand it, and that's, I guess, what I've been doing over the last month and a half. I've moved into my brother's basement. He's fixed it up beautifully. But I'm bouncing back and forth because I'm in that void, and I know that void is protecting me, and I know that void is perfect and beautiful, and it's getting me prepared, but I'm not sure, I don't know where I'm going, and so I bounce from fight and flight, you know, and I'm so I'm trying to sit with it more, and I do have some things that I've been doing now to try to pull myself out of it. I had, when I moved into my brother's basement, as I was moving my belongings in, I was by myself, and in the back there was a post on the fence, and I had a red-tailed hawk, a big, huge red-tailed hawk, come to that post 6 feet away from me, and I spoke to it, and I said, "Boy, you're really close to me. Thank you so much for coming, and I wish I knew what you had to share with me." And it just kind of looked at me and back and forth and pruned itself a bit, and we had, you know, a good 5 minutes together, and then I left, and then he or she has not returned, but I feel present still.
Mm.
And so I'm still sitting here wondering, and I say to myself, stop wondering. It goes into my head. I have that mind that says, okay, figure it out. Oh, I can't figure it out. Okay, I get frustrated and then I get crazy and I let it go. So I'm just trying to relax and take it easy and just be, and that's where I'm at right now. And yeah, so I thank everybody for sharing. I really heard a lot of messages there, and I want an answer, and I know that I need to wait. So that's me.
Thanks, Tracy. I think that, that the Creator uses many messengers to bring us, guidance. And, having that hawk there, that first day that you moved in, was really significant, because hawks are, like, we call them the baby eagles. The next ones up are the eagles. The big ones are the thunder beings, the thunderbirds, the big black ones that bring the storms. They carry water on their backs and they bring lightning through their eyes. And they are the messengers of the Creator. So, what you've received there is a message from the Creator that, for this time, you're in the right place at the right time with the right people. And, if you're asking, like, what's next, you got to make sure you listen. You didn't give the hawk enough time to tell you what the message was. You stayed out there for 5 minutes. And I think that's, one of the biggest challenges for all of us, is that we're so used to, like, this instant communication. And it's even worse now with Zoom. Like, you can actually see people and talk to people, and, like, there's this interaction right away. It's like it's bumped it up from the level of the cell phone and even FaceTime. So, it's time to understand that there's a listening that we need to do. And there's no better time than the fall for listening, because the days are still warm, the nights are still cool, and having an opportunity to get out there and to just be out there, not with any intention or expectation, but just really to humble yourself and give thanks that the earth is still the earth, that we still have grasses, we still have trees, we still have gardens and flowers, and that the birds are still singing, and the stars are coming out, and here's the grandmother moon, and in a few hours the sun will rise. And all of those things to be grateful for, the opportunity to be alive in this place, and to accept that serenity, and accept the quiet, and accept that we have no agenda and no schedule, but to be able to do that is a real gift. And that's when the messages come. When you quiet yourself and you're sitting outside, whether it's in a park, sitting on a blanket in a park with your back against your favorite tree, or, finding a place on, like we would say, on our land. So we have a place where there's a petriform turtle to sit. We have the thunder tree that's been hit by lightning twice, that's a powerful place. We have groves of pine trees and maple trees. So there's really beautiful places to sit and to just take in that life force that is out there. And I really encourage everyone on the call to have that time alone outside, to feel the life force that is inside Mother Earth. And, there's things that you hear Indigenous people say, like, the earth is our mother, the earth is alive. So I'll share a story with you about how I experienced that. So I was invited on a UN delegation on the environment to Southeast Asia in 1992. And my children were small then, and I didn't really want to go, but I was told by the buffalo that I had to go. So I went part way to meet the American delegation that was convening in Denver. And from Denver, we flew to San Francisco, and the meeting was in Japan, in two cities in Japan. And so I didn't want to go. And while I was in Denver, I really loved the place in the mountains that we were staying, and it was a large meeting place. And so one day I took my bundle and my blanket, and I went out by the river. And I chose a particular spot on the river because across the river there was the frame of a couple of teepees and a sweat lodge. And three giant rocks were in the water on my side. So on the other side, I already described the teepee and the sweat lodge frames. And on my side, three gigantic rocks. So I put my bundle out and I did my pipe ceremony and I made my prayers. And I kind of pitied myself. And I said to the Creator, I really don't want to go on this trip. I know that there's a great meaning in my journey, but my children are small. My heart isn't in it. I just don't want to go. I'd like to go home anyway. So I finished smoking my pipe, and I keep my eyes closed throughout my pipe ceremony, and I put my pipe down on my bundle. And for the next while, I could feel something underneath the blanket. And it was rising and falling like Mother Earth was breathing. And it was so comforting to me. And she began to talk to me about why this trip was important and why I needed to go. And I said, when I was talking to her, I said, I've never been away from Turtle Island, and I don't want to go. I know that a lot of people want to travel the world. I don't want to go anywhere except the place where I was created. And she said to me, I am the world. I am underneath all of the oceans. I am everywhere that you walk in this world. I'm there. She said, so, you need to go on this journey because there's things you need to do here on behalf of life. So I ended up going on the journey. So all of this is going on, and I'm feeling this very gentle rise and this very gentle, up and down movement of comforting me as I was sitting on that blanket. And it felt like I was being held in Mother's arms because I could feel that gentle breathing of back and forth. So when I opened up my eyes, and I had no idea of the time that this happened, but when I opened up my eyes, Mother Earth showed me that she was alive because I was no longer sitting in that same place as I started. She had moved me down that riverbank. And I gathered up my bundle and I wrapped it up in the way that it needs to be wrapped and smudged everything. And then I walked back to the place where I started. And there were my three rocks. There was on the other side of the river, the outline of the sweat lodge and the teepees. And she had moved me. And I knew then. And I felt then. And I heard her voice. And I knew that Mother Earth was real, that she was alive, that she breathes, that the gift of my life on her is to be able to walk on her every single day and to make my walk count for something. And when I say that, it means my walk has to count for the continuance of her life, not mine. That's what it has to count for. So, I want to share that with you because that was my real life experience. And when I walked back to the main house where we were staying, I felt so much better. I felt like I could make that journey. I felt like I had a purpose in it and that I was going to make a contribution of some kind. So that's kind of where we're at today with all of the work that you've been doing over time. I know many of you have started the sun ceremony, and many of you have changed as a result of that. And I'm really glad to hear that, because if you had said, you know, I started the sun ceremony, but it didn't make a difference, it would be really bad. I'd be disappointed, not in the ceremony, but in I guess in the level of commitment to the sun ceremony, because I know that ceremony always works. And I use that ceremony in the training of the spiritual warriors that I work with, and I know that it has transformed their lives. So yeah, got to keep going no matter how hard it gets. And if you sleep in, you got to get up and start the next day, and you don't allow yourself to fail as a warrior for the Creator. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you. Joanne, go ahead and unmute yourself.
So I've always had a prayer practice at night, but I kind of let that go as I let go of my faith. So I've been praying every night, and then I get up every morning and give gratitude just for, like you do, Kathy, for making it through the night and for the new day. But for my family, because I was a teacher, I wanted to, teach what I had learned on the talks. And that wasn't, they're older, my daughters, they're 23 and 26, and that wasn't really the way to go, because they have their own minds and their own beliefs. So what I started to do is walk with my oldest daughter, and we would just talk, and we would just be in nature, and we would just talk. And I don't know if that's a spiritual practice. I think it is, but it just was transformative. It became like our daily ritual of being together, rather than everyone in their rooms on their devices. So our relationship became deeper. And then I read something about moon ceremonies, and so I asked Kathy about it. And so I don't do a sun ceremony, but I've started to do my own new moon and full moon ceremony. Just started that in, I guess, July, and I really, really like that. And I think, and meditation, I always have meditated, but it's at a different level now since the talk. So thank you very much for everything. I just feel everything is old, but everything is new. Oh, and I do walk myself every day. And I remember one day going for a walk by the lake, and I just started touching the trees and just really being present to my walk. And it was just so beautiful. It was pouring rain too, but it was just so beautiful. So that's what I've been doing.
That's pretty amazing. And, your story tells me that you really understand the depths of the teachings, because, we're all excited to be able to share those teachings. And when our family members don't get as excited as we are, it can be disappointing,
Yeah.
I remember coming home from my first Sundance, and my former husband's family was visiting my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and he said, "Oh, so like, what was it like, and what did you see?" And so I'm telling them the details of the Sundance, and they were just like, "Oh yeah." And so you quickly come to the understanding that they're not at that mindset or a spiritual place where they really want to have a conversation about this. So, you kept on going, and you kept on living what you embodied what those teachings were. And through that embodiment, you influenced your girls to really begin to fall in love with creation, and to appreciate creation and to be humble and to give gratitude through behavior. Sometimes, like the greatest teachings are not the words, it's the behavior, it's the feeling, it's the action, it's the witnessing of the change in you that magnifies the power of those teachings. Because suddenly, you know, the girls will see something different in their mother and will begin to ask questions. They're also of the age where they're not yet settling. Like that age is between 25 and 27. And the unusual time we find ourselves in is also disturbing to young people, because many of them can't see their way forward yet. And so it's unnerving for them to be in this kind of a position that they've never experienced before, especially people in North America, because Haudenosaunee people say this is the place where Turtle Island is the place where peace lives. And so, you know, the great wars have been fought in other places in the world and continue to be fought in other places in the world. So this work that we're doing here now is vitally important, because what it is changing people's values. It's changing the way that people behave, the way that they see the world, the way that they order priorities in their lives, and understanding humility for the very first time, maybe some people, because, you know, they've never had to humble themselves before. And now it's a different time period, and it's a different challenge where everything, you know, everything that we consider to be normal is taken away from us. So, you know, just being with your girls and loving them unconditionally and being outside and carrying that love from Mother Earth, there's a emotional and spiritual change that starts to initiate in every cell of your body. And that's where you start to feel the real true spiritual nature of yourself. And in feeling that, your gifts begin to emerge. So, you know, we're in a time period now where we need to be able to bring that goodness into the world, and to stand for goodness in the world, and to be that beacon of goodness in the world, because there's so much around us that is based on fear, and fear is next to anger, and anger, of course, you know, leads to violence. So we are living in a precarious time. And what I can tell you is this, that we're being watched by the Creator for the reactions that we have to the conditions that are being presented to us. And if we don't have the proper reactions of kindness, compassion, and generosity and loyalty, then the next go round of challenges will be even more deeply felt and more challenging than the last go round. So, you know, it's a test. There's no doubt about it. It's a test.
Thank you, Joanne. Thank you for being so dedicated to the teachings always. Thank you. All right, who's next? It's 9:02 and we're gonna have our song, of course, so there's enough time to take somebody else. Who would like to share?
Say something.
No.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
Hi, it's Vicki.
I see you, and go for it.
Okay. I just wanted to offer to the group the fact that because this has enabled me to enter into an involuntary retirement stage, then Diane's
injunction to focus on creator and self is exactly where I am headed. And thank you for the reminder.
Mm.
And so I just wanted to offer that to the group, that this is the place I'm entering,
Mm.
whatever that means to the group. But thank you.
Well, it's an important stage of life, that's for sure, because you're entering the grandmother stage of life. And, you know, for all of us women on the call with gray hair, you know, I celebrate that, because this is now the very best time of life for us. And it's a time of life when the wisdom is called into action, when we are called to be the best we can be, most masterful with the things that we've done in our lives. And we're also called on to transmit that knowledge to the young people. So, you know, what I really encourage you to do is to invite young people into your life, and make sure that you share with them unconditionally what you can of the best of your knowledge and your care, your generosity, and most of all, your love, because young people need that unconditional love and support moving forward.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so Stephanie, I don't need to share orally, but wanted to thank Diane for her teachings. Jody and I were able to offer a cedar bath for a friend who's been going through emotional turmoil. It was very moving and very special to come together and to offer healing for another person, bringing these teachings to the community. Thank you for sharing. Okay, yes, Mike, Renee, whichever one of you is wanting to share, please unmute yourself. You know how much I love that.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you all so much. I feel like this last month was a bit longer than the last time we took our break. So I just wanted to say hi to everyone and how much I missed you all. Joanne, I wasn't going to share, but your share kind of inspired me to mention that it's kind of the flip side for me. The understandings of the teachings and bringing them into our families for me has been more about listening and understanding, and really taking the time to maybe like absorb some of the traditions. I've been doing a lot of, well, for the first time ever, have been doing some pickling and learning these like, and canning and preserving, which I don't think, because of the circumstances, like I was off to BC, right? I would not have learned this from my family, and these things that are being passed down to me, I feel like are such a huge gift. And I just want to thank you so much for like allowing me to be present for that, because I feel like I do have a different mindset around it, and it's a deeper understanding for sure. And I think these talks have made such a huge difference in my life, or just an impact. I truly can't thank you enough, every one of you, for being part of this journey. So thank you.
I want to also thank you guys. I was just saying to Renee today that this is like church for us. I've never been like a church goer, but like this is, I feel like it's very fulfilling in that way. And yeah, I've been really connecting with the land the past few months continuously, and applying teachings to that. And I also had an experience that I feel like connected me to my ancestors. It was when I was harvesting potatoes. This is the first time I ever grew potatoes, but I was in the dirt. I had my hands in the dirt. I was digging for potatoes, and I was like, wow, this is like what my ancestors did. This is what kept us alive. And yeah, that among everything has just been very special.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really makes me happy to hear young people talk about that transmission of that knowledge, both from the ancestors and from the older women of the family who, you know, have been canning for a long time, and understand also, you know, what it is to live with very little, and to be happy with that, and to, you know, I remember one time being in a ceremony, and thinking to the Creator, well, you know what? I have all these 9 acres of land here, and I wonder what I should do with this land. And I need this, I need this, I need this, and I want to do this, and I don't have any money, and I remember laying down on the land, and it was just me, and it was a warm, sunny day, and I laid down on the grass down by the river, and I just spread right out, and started to watch those clouds go by, and I heard this voice say to me, I have given you everything that you need. Now get to work and make it to serve. And yeah, so I just stood up and I go, yeah, well, I got my little work list here now to do, and I have to build something of this land. I have to build something. The first thing I built was a sacred fire. Then I built a sweat lodge. Then the teepees came. Then the lodge came. Then the warriors all came to stand at that fire and to serve at that fire. And then hundreds of people came, hundreds of people, for healing, for teaching, to help us watch that fire when we burned it for 7 years, day and night, praying and making offerings. Hundreds of people. And so, I'm really grateful for all of what I've been shown in my life. And it's kind of like a mirror image to your life on the land as young people. Like, you've been given this gift. Now, what are you going to make of it? Right? Now, what are you going to do? So, and that's where the work comes in. And that's part of being trained as a spiritual warrior, is that you don't just sit there and wait for all the gifts to come to you and, build your bundle, but you get out there and you start serving, and through service, you earn your bundle. And everything that comes into your bundle, whether it's a rattle, an eagle whistle, an eagle feather, maybe it's a pipe, maybe it's an altar cloth, all those things have meanings because you've earned them, and there's a spirit that lives inside each of those things that gives it its power to help you during your own times of crisis within yourself, within your family, within the extended family that you have, or your community, and gives power to help and heal other people. So these are all important lessons about not waiting for things to fall in your lap, but getting out there and working it. And everybody has to work it. Like Joanne's out there, she's walking all the time, embracing in nature, humbling herself in the natural world, and loving that natural world. And same for you, Mike and Renee, working with all the gardens, and the outcomes of your work shows that abundance of your garden that comes forward at this time of year. And when you're really going to appreciate it is when you guys live in Nova Scotia, so you get those massive storms that last 2 or 3 days, where you're holed up for 2 or 3 days and the wind is blowing out there and the ice pellets are hitting the window. That's when you're going to say, thank you, Creator, for our beautiful gardens and for this food that came from the gardens and the work that it took to can and preserve these foods. So yeah, it's all going to come full circle. It will all come full circle. I'm so proud of you for working the land. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys, I love you so much. All right. Got the dog was, it's 9:12. What do you think?
So I think we should have a quick conversation, and you can put your answer in the chat box about what you want to talk about next week. I think we've come far enough in all of our discussions. I don't know how many of these discussions we've had now, Kathy. What do you think?
I think this is 16.
Okay, so 16 discussions. So I've been pretty much deciding, what we're going to talk about and so on. So throw into that chat box some of the things that you want to talk about. Some people have said in different conversations, dreams and visions. Some people have talked about grief and loss. Some people have talked about the stages of training for a spiritual warrior. Some people have talked about, medicines. And there's a lot of women on this call who are medicine keepers. And so, we'll call them out next week too, if that's, or the following weeks, if that's what you want to talk about. Because we had Kelly give the cedar teaching, and, that was really amazing. People really loved that. So, put into the chat box what you want to talk about for next week. And I will, while you're doing that, we're going to ask Cindy to sing our final and closing song. Nyawa, Cindy.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Senhor, os cancos do corte, se estava aqui, não quero não corgo. Hasta na nota para não corgo. Te quiero.
Nyawa, that was really beautiful. We still have some internet issues for timing, but we'll get on to that. So thanks very much, everyone. Nyawa to you, Cindy, for being at the fire and giving us the blessing of seeing our fire in the lodge, and for the beautiful song that you offered. And say to everybody, please put into the chat some of your thinking about next week, and we'll put our program together. So thanks so much. Love you folks. Take care of yourselves. Kathy's not done muting.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Alquaz. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Be blessed, everyone.
Thank you. Type your love in the chat box. Your ideas are amazing. I'm excited about all of our talks for the month. So I'll keep it open for another couple of minutes. Yeah, keep typing.
Yeah. Oh, because people are typing.
People are typing.
So what was Andre babbling about?
Some stuff.
You could mute yourselves if you like, ladies.
Funny.
Jimmy Rich.
Here you are, Denise.
You got photo bomb, Denise.
Finally, there she is.
I saw you give the nod to all the suggestions.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Hi, April.
Hi.
Hey.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Peace and love.
Thanks, Anne. Good. So yeah, another moment to type in.
Good night. Good night, everyone.
Wait for
Jimmy
you.
Rich.
Thank
Hi.
you.
Hi.
Can you remind me you have a story to tell?
Live long and prosper.
So many stories to tell.
You mean now, Mike, or next time?
No, next week. Next week.
Got it. Okay, I'll put it in the chat. Remind Mike he has a story to tell. Sunny.
Sunny.
Here.
Hey, Margaret.
Where, Marianne Larange, where's Ken? Is he still on? Ken was there.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Good night, Mary Ellen. And don't forget
Bob. Jim Bob.
Okay, I'll try not to be late next week.
What time does it start?
8. 8 o'clock. Yep. Okay, we'll be late next week. Tony, Kelly, somebody needs to remind me.
We'll be on next week at 8. Next week at 8.
Okay, got it.
That's when the little hand's on the 8 and the big hand's on the 12.
You got it. Gold star.
You know what? I needed a 5-minute reminder to get me to my class, my virtual class this afternoon. I thought it was canceled. And then one of my classmates messaged me. They said, "You're not in class." And I said, "I'm not going to be there till Tuesday." They said, "Oh, class is in like 5 minutes." I was like, "Damn." All right.
All right. Now we all know Denise needs a reminder. Somebody do that.
Got it. We're on it.
Way to go, Sunny. All right. Okay, I will, I'll shut it off. I'll shut the recording off, actually, if you want some extra giggles. Okay, so let's